Hello everybody, I'm Ryan.
I'm Praveen.
And I'm Way Feng. We are all students in Singapore studying in the IB program.
Welcome to the 020
Zero
podcast. So today we'll be discussing the academic struggles in Singapore secondary schools and JCs that a lot of us youths face as we grow up.
Okay, while we often hear that grades don't define us and that we are more than just our academic results, but it's no secret that there's a huge emphasis on academic success here in Singapore. What do you guys think of this?
I think as an individual, there's so many more things that make up who you are than just grades itself. Everyone has their own hobbies, has things they like to do in their free time, has friends to hang out with. So academics is just one part of your life. It is important, but it doesn't define who you are completely and totally. That's what I think.
Okay. So I agree with what he said. Individually, we are so much more than just grades, right? But if we look at the context of Singapore, I think academics do define us in a sense. You look at primary school. Ever since primary school, you're expected to do well, and the PSLE defines what secondary school you're going to, which kind of carves the path of your life, right? Say if you go to a better school, the general idea is that you do better, and if you go to a worse school, you not do as well. And I think that is sort of true to an extent, yeah.
But then I also think that especially in an Asian society, right, parents tend to emphasize a lot on grades.
That's true.
They say, oh, if you don't get good grades, you can't get a good job in the future. You can't get into a good university, and then you end up sweeping the streets. Things
That's true.
I don't know. Do you think academic really defines our success in life?
I think success is up to you to define it. I mean, if you find purpose and meaning in being a hawker, sure, go ahead. You are contributing to the Singapore hawker society, cooking good food for everyone to eat. But if your definition of success is maybe in a monetary sense, then of course you may. Education and getting your academics sorted is more important.
Yeah, that's true. I feel the Asian definition of success is you graduate from uni, you have a stable job, you raise a family. That's their definition of success. So if you look at it that way, I think academics do define it. But if what he said, if your definition of success is something hawker or you want to be an artist, something like that, I don't really think academics really matter. So it really depends on what your definition of success is.
Yeah, but I also think that Singapore is a very expensive country to live in. So you can do what you enjoy, but if it doesn't pay, then you still struggle.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's very hard to survive in Singapore nowadays. Everything has been inflation, and prices keep going up.
If you're okay with say living in a rental flat or something, something like that, that is fine. If you enjoy what you're doing and you consider that success, sure. But if you want a better life, want to have all the luxurious lifestyles and stuff, then my point stands.
I think now in Singapore, more youngsters are more open to trying other career paths. Social media creation, for example. This kind of thing. So I think our society is becoming more open rather than just focusing on just academic grades itself.
Yeah.
Which is
I think we've deviated away from the traditional lawyer doctor sort of end goal, and I think also more and more parents are more open for their child to explore the different career paths in life, which is it's a good thing The economy can't just operate based on lawyers and doctors. We need engineers, we need plumbers, we need all sorts of people to run a country.
It's true.
And I think the people you mix with, especially going back to the point in the good schools and bad schools, right? I think it's more of the people that you are surrounded with that really steer you towards
a certain direction.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Let's say if you in a good school, it is there's a higher proportion of people from high SES status, and there's a higher chance of them being like brought up well, because like their parents are from stable family backgrounds. Yeah. And then when you're surrounded by all these people, you learn from them. That's your social circle when you are young. And then, yeah, you just like grow up to be an adult and like take after all these skills.
Yeah, that was my point just now. Like I mentioned how going into good school kind of carve your path into a better way. It's like basically that's the thing that parents think about. Like, they want you to get into a good school so you surround yourself with better people, and like iron sharpens iron. So yeah, so you surround yourself with good people, you grow up better. That's why people, I think, place a lot of stress on like academics from a very young age.
That's true. Okay, so speaking of high pressure on academic success, right? How do you think this kiasu mindset of parents and teachers has affected students in Singapore?
I mean, online there's already a portal called Kiasu Parents. My parents used to go there and like look around for like tips and tricks on like what's going on in the education field side of things, especially when I was in primary school. And I think it does help the child's growth to a certain extent, because I mean, from a parent's standpoint, I can see that they are just trying to help the child reach their maximum potential in life from a very young age. So like and like making sure they do their best in their exams, so that they can go to better schools, surround themselves with better people, and like it's an upward spiral from there.
What do you think?
I think it really like depends on the parent lah. Like my parents personally, I wouldn't say they're like so kiasu. Like they kind of let me do my own thing, let me be more independent, I would say. But there are these kind of parents, and like I know like some friends who like since they were young, their parents really like took a lot of time and like money to like raise them and like try and make their life better in the form of like extracurricular classes and like tuition classes. And while I'll say that it is kind of a good thing, I think it can also place a lot of like stress on them lah. Like obviously like tuition every day, and then yeah, like they'll focus mostly on like academics and like basically a lot of stress lah.
Yeah, I think like it affects their mental health also, right? Imagine like you wake up at what 5:30, 6 to go to school, and then you spend what 6-7 hours in school. After that, you have your co-curricular activities. Right, and then after that, like some people still have tuition after that.
Tuition.
You
so
feel quite sick.
and then and then during the weekends, right, where most people get to like relax and play, you know, then like these students are still stuck with tuition, you know, doing homework, and
learning lab and all that.
their parents are constantly breathing down their neck, you know. So I think it's a lot of pressure.
The child becomes a robot rather than an actual child.
That's very true.
Yeah, childhood is very important, you know, right?
You need to find a fine balance.
And like instead of enjoying their childhood, they're like trapped in like this box where they are like they have to follow their parents' like structure and routine, and like they can't go out and like figure themselves out. And like you said, it makes them into a robot.
Yeah, that's true. But I think it's also good that like from a young age, right, we learn to deal with this sort of pressures, because I can see from my parents is quite demanding to like constantly provide for the family.
Like the demands of adulthood lah.
Demands of adulthood. You can tell it's not easy lah. Like, I mean, we can all see our parents are struggling, you know. So I think it's good that it prepares us from a young age, you know, to be able to, how do you say, carry all this weight on our shoulders.
No, but even if it does prepare us, do you think a young child really like deserves to go through all that just to experience like what they're gonna experience later anyway? Like you look at someone from like say Australia, they don't really place a lot of like stress on academics, and they're able to more of explore themselves from a young age, and they are doing like, I would say they are like they will manage quite well in adulthood. So do you really think that just because they are gonna experience it later, that they should really go through it now?
I think it's like, I think culture is a very like important part.
That's true. That's true.
Asian versus Western. And then also I think it's up to the parents to decide how they want to introduce this sort of how and when they want to introduce academic pressure to their child, because I mean it's a very important decision for the parents to make. But let's say like a chill parent with a chill parenting style can have the mindset that, oh, I just want my child to swim through primary school, get into a secondary school, and then maybe we can start like inculcating in him like the importance of like, academics. Whereas maybe a very kiasu tiger parent may like chuck like swimming classes, piano classes, tuitions for every single subject straight into the child when they're like 8 years old. But then there's no right answer. I think it's just like up to the parents to call, which is, I think it's a very important decision for all parents to make.
Yeah. I do think there's like a benefit from like you training them to like be very studious when they're young. Because say like you said, they play around in primary school, then they're supposed to suddenly be studious in secondary school. Like I think that's kind of challenging for like a non-studious guy, because old habits die hard.
Yeah, you have to build the
you have to build the discipline from a young age. So I guess there are some pros to like the kiasu parents like kind of molding them into like that good studious kid.
Okay, so in order to keep up with all these like academic struggles, you know, because we have like a lot of parents like to send their kids for co-curricular activities such as like, you know, piano classes or martial arts classes and all this sort of thing, right? Do you think like tuition is necessary for students to keep up in Singapore schools? Or do you think
it really depends on the student and his abilities. If he's of like lower ability and you want him to catch up, I think tuition will be necessary. But also, even if it's necessary, you shouldn't like sign him up for like 6 tuitions every week. Like that's definitely gonna like impact him negatively, like mental health wise, stress wise. And yeah, if it's like helping him with his academics, that's good. So I think that's my opinion.
I think tuition has been like a big debate between parents with children for like quite a while, because in Singapore it's like a meritocratic society. So it is only those that can afford tuition that are able to send their children to tuition.
That's true.
So it has been like a concern, especially for the lower SES people, that they can't send their children to tuition classes, and hence their children do not have the same opportunity as a child that comes from a more well-to-do family background. And yeah, I think that's just a very, very pressing concern amongst parents.
Yeah, I think that's like also one of the main reasons for the somewhat divide between those like elitist schools and the more neighborhood schools, you know what I mean? Because in like elite schools, right, it's almost like a norm for every kid to go to have tuition, regardless of whether it's a top student or like the struggling student, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas in the neighborhood schools, right, especially those with like lower SES, a lot of these students don't have the opportunity, even if they need it. So like they stay stuck and they don't get the help that they need.
That's true.
Yeah, so I think there's one part that can be improved in our education system. Maybe give
more affordable like tuition education.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, then it's also all those tuition centers, right? They try to make money because they know that every parent would want to send their students to tuition to like better their grades or whatever.
I mean, if it's a private tuition center, then no choice. They have the control over the prices. And it's usually, I think, if I'm not wrong, like most tuition centers are all private. So I think it's very hard for a child from a lower SES family to really just break through. They're just not given the same chances.
And like if a lower SES child does want to go to tuition, like usually I think parents would look for alternative, like maybe home tuition that might be of like less quality compared to like tuition centers which have more resources. So I think that also like kind of affect the way in which they learn, and like there's the divide basically between like higher SES and lower SES.
Yeah, but I think like besides tuition, right? I think school teachers can also do more. Like, no offense to teachers out there, but I think like a lot of the teachers in our schools aren't putting in their best effort to help the students out. You know, like of course, in schools like you're still teenagers. Students might still be mischievous. You know, you might not want to do homework and all that sort of thing. But as a teacher, as a mentor, right, it's still your job to, you know, guide the student. You know, help the student. Because like it's really a very important part in their lives.
Yeah, that's true.
And while I agree, right, I think like a teacher, say she teaching 5 classes, right? She will have maybe say 30 students in each class. She will have 150 students to take care of. Let's say there's like 5 rowdy, mischievous people in each class. She will have 25 people to go after. So like they aren't really like, if you look at it from the perspective of a teacher, right? You aren't getting paid more to like mentor these people also. So like I think that really affects them, and like some teachers just look at it at the sense that if they aren't gonna help themselves, then I'm not gonna bother. Like, I think that's the explanation behind like what teachers are doing.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, it's understandable.
In Singapore, teachers also like don't really get
They're
paid
not
a lot.
paid.
Yeah, it's a very high demanding job with like the pay isn't that great also.
I watched like a CNA documentary about teachers recently, right? And then the teachers were saying like how their job doesn't just entail teaching anymore. It entails like, especially where in schools where they don't have a lot of staff, the teachers they have to be the ones like taking care of food allergies for like outdoor excursions, have to be the ones booking the buses. And then in that documentary, the teacher just questioned like, hey, is this really part of my job scope?
Yeah, that's true.
Does my pay justify this? Yeah. And yeah, it's a very, how do you say, I think we still have to respect teachers for
Yeah,
their work.
they do deserve the respect.
I think they really like, they get into teaching out of like their passion for teaching
It's
rather
that's
than
very
the
true.
monetary aspect. Yeah.
I think it's a tough issue, lah.
It is quite, yeah.
You know, it goes all the way up.
That one for the government to solve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about us, right? With such demanding like schedules, you know, and all the extracurricular activities, how do you guys manage like your school life? How do you balance your academics and your, say, your own hobbies or, you know, your own interests?
I mean, currently, because I have a lot of academic works, I don't really go for any extracurricular stuff. Like, the only thing I go for is like this life-saving swimming course, and that's like once a week, and there's like physical tests every now and then. So I wouldn't really say it's that stressful for me, but CCA wise, I am in 3 CCAs, which not every week, but I feel I'm able to manage like my CCA and like work-life balance, like, and social life also. But in primary school, I had like a lot of extracurricular activities. I went for like drawing, swimming, what else? I think I went for karate. So yeah, that was, I mean, back then academics wasn't that difficult also, so I feel I was able to manage. So yeah, how about you?
I mean, I feel that for me individually, I prioritize having like enough free time for myself. I think it just really, it helps me like not to burn out that fast, especially like in IB right now. So I mean, I've always believed like in this like concept where your 100% may not be the same as another person's 100%. So I mean, I can see it as, like, especially in elite schools where there are those like top 5 percentile people that are really able to maximize and use their time efficiently to get like a lot of work done.
Yeah.
Whereas there are some people that either are not able to or like prefer to take things in their own stride and go at a slower pace. So I think you just have to find a pace that works for you.
Yeah.
So that you can keep your mental balance in check. And then also, but not neglect your studies. So like for me, I have
You have drama.
I have drums, as a co-curricular, and then I go for chemistry and math tuition, and then I have only one CCA on Saturday. I mean it seems quite light, but I think that's like the best balance between work and relaxing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You?
I kind of agree with that. Like, you need to have a work-life balance, but I think that you also can't give a child too much free time, you know, because especially in this age of technology and all that, you know, if you give like your kid too much free time, you know, you might think that they have like more space to go and like be creative, you know, think and all that. But then now they're just what? They're just gonna go on Instagram, TikTok. They waste hours on their phone, you know. So I think it's also a good thing that like parents like back their child's schedule with
like enforce a routine.
Enforce a routine. You know, it helps to build discipline. There are a few benefits to it, but I think you should also, as a parent, you should also like listen to your child's needs. You know, if like it's obvious that he's struggling with something, you know,
I think
maybe pay more attention, lah.
Communication with parents on this thing is also like very important. Like you have to make them build trust in you and like make them trust that you'll be able to handle your stuff and like communicate if you're like not feeling mentally okay, or if you want to make some adjustments to your schedule or something like that. I think it's
I think the parents must hold a safe space for the child to really express their true thoughts, because if there's no safe space for the child to do so, then like why would the child go and like tell the parents like,
that's true,
where he'll only get like scolded or reprimanded for like speaking up.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if the child doesn't trust the parents enough to like help him out, he's just gonna do stuff behind their back, which is not good, obviously. And like there's the separation between the parent and the child, which in the long term is not good.
Lying comes in.
Yeah, just when lying, doing
distrust.
That's how you like go down the wrong path.
Yeah, you go down the wrong path, makes it wrong. So I think trust between the parents and child and like, communication is very important on this like aspect.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm very sure like all of us we are no strangers to some sort of academic failures in school lah.
Absolutely.
Right. So a lot of parents and students will be interested to know how we deal with it, you know, how we overcome it, you know. And with like so many other things going on, maybe you got like your own family struggles or whatever, right? How do you deal with it as a like a young teenager?
I think holidays are a very important part for like a child to realize and like build himself back up, especially after end of year grades and stuff. So holidays is the period where I personally like I reflect on the year and I try to catch up on stuff that I maybe missed out on and like find time to discover myself. And like academic while also giving myself the space and time going out with my friends, all that. So that's how I personally handle it.
I think I try and like reflect on like the few like months leading up to the exam, and I try and identify like what's wrong, like what I did wrong, or what I didn't do enough. Like let's say my studying technique was wrong and like inefficient, so like maybe I went through like each chapter like very slowly and took up a lot of time, and then I didn't have enough time for my other subjects, which is what happened for this year's exams. Then I identify the problem and I'll fix it the next exam. And I mean I tell myself like it's not the be all and end all. Unless it's like a major exam. Like if it's like a final years, then I mean of course do your best, but also treat it as a learning process. Find out like which like learning method suits you best and like what went wrong.
That's true.
Yeah, I also think like it's very important for students, right? Especially in our society where like you're expected to like keep quiet and like just carry your own burdens, right? I think it's very important to like be able to speak out and ask for help. You know, when you need it, like be it in your academic struggles or like whatever struggles you're facing, right? It's important to like have people that you can talk to, you know, that you have people who can help you. Yeah, I think it's very important lah. Like for example, if you are struggling in your academics or like you're struggling to pass, right? Maybe you can like talk to your teachers about it. Like that's why I also think like teachers have a very important part to play. Like you have to be like caring and understanding.
A mentor.
You have to be a mentor instead of like just you know, like shooting a student down for like not doing homework. You know, maybe there's something deeper behind it.
And every student has their own individual like circumstances. And teachers are dealing with a lot of them. So I think like they can get really involved in a student's life and really make
a difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think one very important thing is that like not everybody is the same, you know. So like one student may be able to learn a lot in class, right? Whereas that learning method might not work for another student, you know, like I used to like struggle quite a bit in like my academics, you know, like I seem to understand what's going on in class. I'm paying attention, I understand what's going on in class, right? I do my work. But then when it comes to the exam, I just can't solve the question.
I relate.
Yeah. So I think it's very important that like teachers understand this and like not judge and not blame a student for his learning ability. Yeah, and then like as much as possible try to help the student lah.
Especially since he's tried his best in class and pay attention and everything.
Yeah. Sometimes like you're just like some people are slower learners, but it's not their fault, you know. The important thing is like you put in the effort as students, you know. You try your best. Yeah.
I think it's the mentality that that you like that you nurture that is really important. That is really what's important for like adulthood. Because like honestly, who's gonna remember like all the chemistry shit like, in 5 years? Nobody.
No one.
Yeah, it's more of your like problem solving skills and how you
approach things.
Yeah, how you deal with the stress. Yeah.
So like, who do you guys approach when you're like facing struggles? Not just academic wise, but like social life or whatever.
I approach like my close friends, mostly, and also my parents. Yeah, because I mean I'm fortunate enough to have like a few close friends that I can really like open my heart to. So yeah, it really just gives me this like healthy space and something to fall back on whenever I encounter something and like I require like somebody to talk to. And yeah.
That's good. So for me, I'm quite close to my mom. So like depends on the struggle. If it's maybe academics, I'll ask her because she was quite a good student back in her days.
Oh.
Yeah. So if it's social life wise, I'll consult my close friends, like you guys, and other friends. Yeah, academics. Yeah, that's basically it.
Actually, this is a good question. You know, like honestly, I'm still struggling with it because my parents are really very busy. You know, I try not to like,
burden them
as much as possible. They also expect highly of me lah. So, regarding this question, I mean sometimes I do turn to my friends for help lah, but there's also a limit to how much they can do. You know, sometimes they might not be the best person to help you out with it.
They also are going through their own stuff.
You know what I mean. And I won't say that like the teachers we have are the most are the most approachable, or you know, maybe the most caring. Of course there are a few teachers lah, but not all, you know. So
and maybe your problems aren't like suitable for like the teachers to answer. So
I think it's very difficult lah.
I think it's okay to like keep it to yourself if you're like okay with dealing with it. But if you really like can't take it, you should approach someone.
I think like when you turn to like other people for help, like your friends, they are just like a space for you to vent, rather than
get extra advice,
can actually like fix
whatever
problems you have. Like I think if you want to really, let's say, change your work, like improve your work ethic, you really like it's up to yourself to go and do. I think your friends may just be like a motivation or like provide encouragement for you, but like ultimately everything is up to like to fix it, change for the better.
Yeah. I think like as students, when we ask for help, right, we shouldn't have the mentality where we are just like pushing our burdens onto someone else and like hoping they fix it for us.
That's not fair on them.
That's not how it should be also lah. Like as individuals, we should learn to be dependent on ourselves. You know, like if it's a problem we are facing, right, we should look for help, for like guidance and support. You know, but ultimately we have to be the ones to overcome.
Yeah, the onus is on you to change.
Yeah. I agree.
Onus.
Okay.
Alright.
So that's all for this episode. See you guys in the next one.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye. Peace out. Okay, hello everybody. I'm Ryan.
I'm Praveen.
And I'm Way Feng.
Welcome. Okay, sorry. Let's keep going. You can cut it out.
Okay, yeah. And that we are more than just our academic results. But it is. Yeah. Okay, take a pause. I just make sure it's recording.
Oh, she wasn't recording. How long was that? 15?